Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, brothers and sisters. It's a pleasure to be here. Indeed, a pleasure to be here and to talk about further knowledge associated with our brother and uncle and grandfather and great grandfather in the ministry, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which is going to give rise to other informations concerning him and around him that you may not know. But I give so much respect and homage to our brother, so much respect and homage because of the sacrifices that he and his wife made. Necessary sacrifices. There are some that would say that his movement didn't progress us. Excuse me. Brothers and sisters, you know the drill. And I know you understand. There were those that say that his movement didn't do much for us. I would disagree. And to that, I would say there are levels of change. We had to go through the dispensation of nonviolence as a form of mercy for our latter choices. Had there not been any nonviolence, then you would not have had the sporadic growth of Black defense units, both Christian and Muslim, in the Black community. So I would never say that it didn't do any good. It helped us to realize what enemy we were dealing with. It helped us to realize that. Now, it gave us a choice, right? It gave us a choice. We couldn't bag out because if you were someone that wasn't aggressive, if you didn't fit in the parameters of the Nation of Islam, then you could go over to the Christians, the Christian church, for Blacks who were nationalists, because that's what Martin Luther King was. He was a Black nationalist who would stand up, and his code of conduct was to progress through nonviolent means. Now, when he used the term nonviolent, it was broad. But understand that he was very aggressive in reaching his goals, such as desegregating a lunch counter. What does that actually do? It forces the enemy to recognize you, and the more common this becomes, the less dangerous your enemy can be. And to get the federal government behind this, because it's something that should have been done by the federal government. But King gives a conscience to it. And he's not asking for integration per se. He is really asking for a more sophisticated form of segregation. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. He's really asking for a more sophisticated form of segregation. This is what he wants. And he's very aggressive. It is passive resistance. It is passive resistance, but I want you to understand that King is very aggressive in reaching this goal. So he doesn't back down. He doesn't allow them to paint him in a corner. He's very aggressive in reaching his goal because he feels that he's right. Excuse me. And he feels that this is the best way to bring about that change. So he's very, very, very aggressive in his goal of equality and his goal of liberation. Now, initially, he felt that the white community and those blacks that helped them, you always got some brother and sister that has to be, with the opposition. Some brothers and sisters that will fight harder to keep things the way that they are because they benefited from them. And they're thinking individual. They're not thinking community. They're not thinking village. They're thinking individual. And with that being said, there was a lot of black people that benefited, or a lot of them that financially benefited from segregation, blacks. And as difficult as it may be, we have to recognize the fact that there were black slave owners. These were the children of the English royals, and also the children of the slave holders, slave traders, and the plantation owners. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight, or this evening. It's the Black BOULE. And often enough, this BOULE is missed. There was only one brother that talked about the Black BOULE. They gave time to the Black BOULE. And he is no longer with us. I did work with him. Excuse me. Brother Steve Coakley. The one brother that dealt with the BOULE. And we have to discuss the Black BOULE, brothers and sisters. We've got to. If we don't discuss that, then I think you'll miss the reason why King has so much opposition. That I want you to understand something. If you and I are in a village together, we're in an organization together, the organization is impenetrable as long as we're all together for whatever. We're all together. For whatever comes, we have pledged to be together. They can't penetrate you. Shaka Zulu had an army that could not be penetrated. Literally. It was impenetrable. Cuba, Fidel Castro modeled his Cubans, his Cuban warriors, off of the Congolese warriors, and the Congolese warriors modeled theirs off of Shaka Zulu. So Shaka Zulu was the inspiration for the organization and the fealty of the Cubans, the fealty of the Congolese. Now, that's saying a lot. If the enemy can't get in, he can't run you out. If he can't get in, he can't run you out. So we have to discuss the Black BOULE. Have to discuss the Black BOULE. We've got to. And in that, we're going to talk about our brother, Steve Coakley. We're going to cover him too, because Coakley was an amazing researcher as it relates to the BOULE, or what's called the Sigma Pi Phi. If you were a member of a fraternity or the Masonic order, then you know about it. But there are different organizations within those organizations that stand out specifically for Black people. Specifically for Black people. So you can make a decision. Most Black Masons that are conscious and intelligent are Prince Hall. Most of them that are conscious and intelligent and wants to work for the Black community are Prince Hall Masons. So are the organizations good or bad? It depends on the individual that's in the organization. Depends on their scope. And I want you to broaden your scope. I'm challenging you right now, because even amongst what we call the Illuminists or the Illuminati, there's a war going on between them of good and evil. Those that want to perform good and those that want to perform evil. And that's why you get all this backlash. I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to talk to you about something that I know tonight. Now, I work with Brother Steve on, we worked together on some the investigation into the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I worked with him on that. I was very young and very thankful to that Aunt Corey is what I called her, or Miss Coretta Scott King allowed myself and Steve Coakley to research that, and then allowed it to be played at the King Nonviolence Center. So this is years ago. But if you go back, you'll see me, you'll see Steve Coakley. I was very young, but I had an understanding. I was thankful that God gave me an understanding of what was going on, and provided for me through my grandfather and Aunt Corey, or Miss Coretta King, the ability to be useful in research. Now, Sigma Pi Phi, let's talk about that. Okay, known as the Black BOULE. It is known as the Black BOULE. Now, and that all is built on these principles. This is the one organization, brothers and sisters. The organization, not the fraternity, because there's a difference. You do have Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, but that is one of the vehicles that are used for black change if they're conscious. Because you got some sellouts everywhere. You have sellouts everywhere. So what are they going in for? What is the purpose? And what are you willing to do? Now, the Sigma Pi Phi, also known as the BOULE or the Black BOULE, is a black professional fraternity. Had nothing to do with education. This is what I'm saying. It's professional, but it's non-collegiate. Are you understanding me, brothers and sisters? Because we're about to go deep. I'm taking you. We've been going down the rabbit hole. And each time you hear from me, we're going to do some study. We're going to do some real study. It's an African-American professional, non-collegiate fraternity founded in Philadelphia in 1904. Now, remember, the Alpha Phi Alpha was founded in 1906. The Alpha Kappa Alpha, our sister fraternity, was founded in 1909. But in 1904 comes the Black BOULE as an organized fraternity. Organized fraternity. They had it prior, but they had fine-tuned it. Remember, these are the children of the slave masters and the children of the white royals that were set up things amid the system and amid change to keep benefits for their financiers, benefits for their parent organizations, benefit for their royal first organizations. It is the oldest fraternity of African Americans, literally the oldest fraternity of African Americans, but it's non-collegiate. So don't get this mixed up with Sigma Phi Beta. This is Sigma Pi Phi. Now, it was founded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 1904. The organized, in other words, all right, well, wherever there was black bondage and there were white people who produced children through the slave, because that's who these are, all around the world, they got together and organized An organization that will keep them running no matter where they went. No matter where they went. And their whole thing was illusion based on time. Right? Concealment. But among them, there was those that said, no, we've got to work so that our brothers and sisters can see some real progress, because I'm sick of making these people money. I'm sick of building that kingdom. We need to build our own kingdom. So there's war in between the organizations. There's still war. There's different ideals in between the organizations. Now, between it and the Alpha Phi Alpha, this is the collegiate Alpha Phi Alpha, founded at Cornell University, right? Alpha Phi Alpha is the oldest collegiate fraternity. Sigma Pi Phi is the oldest non-collegiate fraternity, right? All right. The fraternity does not have collegiate chapters and is designed for professionals in mid-career or older. Listen. Sigma Pi Phi has over 5,000 members and 139 chapters throughout the United States, the United Kingdom, the Bahamas, Colombia, and Brazil. We're about to go down this rabbit hole. Because this white man said, listen, I got to have some niggas that I can trust. Hope I can say that. I got to have some people that I can trust. Some people that I can trust. And the only way I'm going to get these people to start mating with my slave or those that are oppressed, then I'll get them. I'll get the people that I can trust. Right? Raise them in an organization, give them a chance in organizations that they would normally not have chances in. If I could do this, they'll listen to me, whatever I tell them. They'll feel obligated to listen to me. And whatever I ask them to do, they'll do it. Because I want to get them comfortable financially, have them living good. They're going to want to keep up that lifestyle. This is what you got to do to keep it up, right? When we understand the beast that we're dealing with, we also understand that there were ancestors that committed evil to help these beasts. They had problems with any other Africans. They used these individuals. And they would act like they didn't know what was going on. What do you do to a baby? The white man is a baby of creation. But in between parents, if there's a baby that see the parent does do something, that baby is going to copy that parent. Is that right or wrong? We got to do some serious house cleaning among us as African people. We got to do some serious house cleaning. Now remember, it was founded in 1904. The fraternity, again, doesn't have any collegiate chapters. It's designed as a professional fraternity of African American, mainly men, at mid-career or older. The Sigma Pi Phi was founded. Black professionals were not offered participation. Listen. In professional and cultural associations organized by white fraternities or the white community. So let's be plain about it. The white man used them. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. The white man used them when it fit their purpose. But after that, after slavery, and after that system, they began to throw them out. They didn't have a use for them. So they had to organize on their own, because they said, you can't work among us. Find something you can do amongst yourself. And we'll pay you You can create something. What does he? The white man does the same thing to his child, his son and his daughter, right? They send them to Europe for education. They won't send them to American colleges because that would shame them because they knew where these kids would come from. They send them to Europe for education, or they push them out into some other area, tell them to find something, and they'll support it as long as they can make money from it. Let's talk about the founders, and we're going to discuss who the founders are. A lot of people don't know. Robert J. Abel, some people say Abele, was born 1875. He passed in 1929. Nobody really knows where he was born. This is on purpose. This is on purpose. And they really don't know where he died. This is on purpose. However, brothers and sisters, he graduated at the top of his class in 1895 at Hahnemann University. Now, many people have not heard of Hahnemann University, but it's a medical school. Drexel University College of Medicine. Now, Hanahan is Drexel. Drexel University, that's Hanahan. Drexel University College of Medicine is the medical school of Drexel University, a private research university in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The medical school represents the consolidation of two medical schools. One is Hahnemann College, a Hahnemann Medical College, originally founded as the nation's first college of this work in my brain now, was the first college of homeopathy. Now, homeopathy, right? We say homeopath. Homeopathy was largely produced during professional slaves in slave communities. Okay? Slave communities, whites didn't understand it. So they began to practice a type of pseudoscientific system of alternative medicine because they didn't understand it. But today, we know through the African-centered herbal science and medicine that there are plant science that will actually help you, right? Because the medicine comes from the plant. So he said, why create all this unnatural stuff? Let's do holistic practice, right? But the white man said, because he didn't understand it, thought it was pseudoscientific because he had no knowledge. You have to understand, the people that enslaved you didn't know how to read. They didn't know how to practice medicine. They didn't know fine arts. They didn't know literature. They didn't know science. They didn't know how to invent. They didn't know industrialization, and they didn't know civilization. You have to understand that. If you understand that, you understand why this man depends on you so much. If you understand that, you understand why he'll hire you to do a job that he has no idea of how to do, because he in college they're mostly coking up, right, and shooting up. These are the same doctors that are working on black people if you dumb enough to go to the hospital, right? Huh? So you have to understand this. You have to understand exactly what's going on. Now, so when you don't understand something, you'll give it a narrative. But it's the nation's first college of homeopathy, right? Very first. It's a system of alternative medicines conceived in 17 by the African that was working for a man named, a German physician named Samuel Hahnemann. He was the practitioner on the white side for homeopathic physicians. and who believe that a substance that makes you sick, you can be healed by it, which is immunity. But he didn't get the inner part of it, that you're going to need plant science to holistic practice to cure. You can understand a illness that make you sick. For instance, they'll give you take a flu shot. It's the flu, so it gets you sick, so it increases your immune system. But you should only need it once. And you don't need the shot. Your body can immune itself to the environment. So through plant science, you can treat whatever ailment you have. I hope that makes sense. Now, the other part of it, the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania, that was the other that was merged together with it. And you have to understand exactly what's going on. The Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania, right, was formerly known as the Female Medical College of Pennsylvania. It was the first American medical college dedicated to teaching women medicine and allowing them to earn a doctorate of medicine. Now, when you hear of Drexel University College of Medicine, it's talking about these two colleges. Now, let's go back to what we were originally talking about. We say Sigma. So, Robert J. Abele, right, the African, graduated at the top of his class in 1895. And it's important that you understand that he is African. And I don't mean in the sense of being born here, but I mean in the sense that his mom made it with a European to produce him. This is important to know. This is very, very important to know. So when he graduated at the top of his class, Hahnemann University Medical School, which is Drexel University's College of Medicine, and was his first Black graduate. Listen. This is in this. Look beyond the system of racial segregation. When you talk about the BOULE, because the BOULE is the exception. The BOULE is the exception. And when I tell you this, then you understand how Dr. King got so far and why they were upset with him. Because he was a part of that BOULE system, the exception to Black. He was wealthy. But let's stay on course. He's the first Black graduate. He earned the highest score ever awarded at that point on the state's medical certification test in the Pennsylvania state qualifying examination for physicians. This is very, very important. Now, he did this in 1896, 1897. In 1897, he scored 97.3% out of 100%. All right, you want to find that information, brothers and sisters? I even tell you where to find the information. Robert Jones Abele, right? That's who you're talking about. To get the information, a brother that wrote the book, and also Tamara L. Brown also talked about it. The American fraternities and sororities, African American fraternities and sororities. Now, also Steve Coakley. I know that because I worked with him and learned to do research through him. My research years came through him. He was one of the people that taught me the intricacies of research. I learned to research through my grandfather, Pastor Samuel Rogers, who was a human rights leader for the Southern states and an associate with I call her Aunt Corey, but Miss Coretta King. Now, and her family. But What I want you to understand is Steve Coakley taught me the intricate parts of research and to see what they're not saying. See what they're saying, though they may not be producing it through their writings. So it's sort of investigation, literary investigation. Now, you got Eugene T. Henson, a medical doctor and co-founder of Mercy Hospital in Philadelphia. All this in Philadelphia, which opened in 1907. You had Edwin C.J.T. Howard. So I want you to get all the real names. I don't want you to be confused at all. October, he was born. They got his date of birth. And it's important to remember that Eugene T. Henson and Robert J. Abele, they don't really have a birth date for them, which says a whole lot. And that ties them into the aristocracy. When you said aristocracy, that means blacks that are attached to England as a governing power with the UK and are children of the English that came here to set up this corporation called America. So that's what you're in. You and I are in a corporation called America. With Edwin C.J.T. Howard, he was born October 21st, 1846, and died May 10th, 1912. He's a member of Harvard Medical School class, 1869, who practiced medicine in Charleston, South Carolina, of all places. This rabbit hole's getting deep, right? Now, understand the system of segregation is going on, but he's practicing in Charleston, South Carolina, of all places. This was the port for slavery and one of the most racist cities that you could be in the United States. And here this black man is practicing. But when they look at him, they know they own, because when they mix, see, they don't bother the mixed ones. You know what I mean? These are their people. They fulfill what they want them to do. Right? That's the understanding of that kind of creation. That's the understanding. Now, he graduated, member of Harvard Medical School. This is Edwin C.J.T. Howard. October 21st, he was born, 1846. He died May 10th, 1912. Member of the Harvard Medical School class of 1869, who practiced medicine in Charleston, South Carolina, then Philadelphia. You're going to see Philadelphia. They're going to always recognize Philadelphia, right? Remember, they're trying to create their own. So this is how Philadelphia becomes so black, so political, and so, in many instances, as not agnostic. Okay, so Pennsylvania, where he founded Frederick Douglass Hospital, 1895, and Mercy Hospital in 1907. So Frederick Douglass Hospital was changed to Mercy Hospital. Now, why do they bring up Frederick Douglass? Frederick Douglass was also a part of the BOULE. And if you believe that lie about the Northern Star, why, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. He was a traitor and a spy for the American government, posing as a statesman. So anything America was for, Frederick Douglass was telling black people, go on and do it, you'll get your freedom. At the top level for the federal government. He was a part of the BOULE. Frederick Douglass was a part of the Black BOULE. Okay, so Frederick Douglass Hospital in 1895, but it was changed to Mercy Hospital in 1907. And this hospital is still in Philadelphia. You can go and see it. It's still there. You heard me say the acronyms for his name, but when you see his actual name is Dr. Edwin Clarence Joseph Turpin Howard. He was MD. Keep in mind, Howard, because you're going to hear this again. But I say Howard University. Come on, brothers and sisters. Wake up. Then you got Algernon B. Jackson, Algernon Bashir Jackson, his actual name, was a prominent African-American physician, surgeon, writer, columnist, and contributed profoundly to the National Negro Health Movement, an organization which sought to uplift African Americans by educating them on prevention. Now, Algernon was trouble. He was one of the ones in the BOULE that was trying to help black people. He was a prominent physician, surgeon, writer, columnist who contributed profoundly to the National Negro Health Movement, an organization that sought to uplift African Americans by educating them on preventative medicine and public health. This is where you begin to see holistic health. He teaches holistic health for black Americans and telling them eat healthy. If you eat healthy, if you're clean, you will surpass being sick. Most sickness come from uncleanliness, eating, right? What you're eating isn't clean. It produces mucus, right? And we need fluids running through our bodies. He's the first to start an entire movement on this. You got Henry McKee Menton. He was a pharmacist and a doctor, but he served at the earlier brother we talked about. He served at Edwin C.J.T. Howard's hospital, Mercy Hospital. As a matter of fact, he was a pharmacist and doctor at Mercy Hospital and was a superintendent of Mercy Hospital in Philadelphia. Okay, and we're almost done, brothers and sisters. I don't want to overwhelm you because we're going to come back. We'll be coming back. You got Richard J. Warwick Jr. was born in, again, they don't give a birthplace or a birth date. They give a birth year, but not a birth date. Very peculiar, right? In 1880 to 1957, Penn Dental School, class 1899, where he was the second black person to graduate at William Penn Dental School. Okay? Again, the second black person to graduate. So, Sigma Pi Phi quickly established chapters referred to as member BOULEs in Chicago, right? Chicago is run by a black chain called the Mellon Associates, right? There's nothing wrong with as long as the black people benefit. But when you control this wealth and it is monitored by whites who are controlling the world, then we have a problem because you got us tied into the Western global power structure. And you have those that are fighting to get out of that and produce something for themselves, like Algernon B. Jackson was assassinated in 1942. Oh yeah, and when he's assassinated, and they have the myth. They have the myth about how he died, but when he's assassinated from within, and that's a deeper study. The same way Martin Luther King Jr.'s brother, Reverend A.D. William King, was assassinated because he, like his brother, wanted to change, wanted to really help black folks. And he couldn't appeal to the BOULE. Now, Martin Luther King's father was a different story. We'll talk about that a little later. Because he was all for controlling black wealth and keeping black folks down. He believed in power. And controlling that power and oppressing blacks. He was a part of the BOULE system. So there's a war between those in the BOULE system. Those said, we want to raise blacks up. And then those said, nah, we need to just keep these the way they are, because if we don't, we're going to lose what we have. So the Sigma Pi Phi quickly established chapters referred to as member BOULEs in Chicago, Illinois, and then Baltimore, Maryland. That's why these places are some of the blackest places on earth. As a matter of fact, Maryland, Baltimore has a population, just Baltimore itself in Maryland has a population of at least 585 to 600,000 people, just the area of Baltimore itself. And that's for the census, just Baltimore itself. So imagine that, this many people supporting black businesses, because you got to think about that, how dollars turn over. Chicago is the most populous city in the United States, and in the Midwestern part of the United States, it has a population of 2,746,388 people. And you could go and research that to check me on it, but I know it's 2 million. A lot of the stuff I study to try to keep in my head, brothers and sisters. I still practice the old way. All right, so founded as an organization of professionals, Sigma Pi Phi never established a collegiate chapter and eliminated undergraduate membership during its infant stages. However, here's the key. However, Sigma Pi Phi has historically had a congenial relationship with the Intercollegiate Black Greek Letter Organization, as many members of Sigma Pi Phi are members of both. Sigma Pi Phi has over 5,000 members and 139 chapters throughout the United States, the United Kingdom, the Bahamas, Colombia, and Brazil. And I ask you, how can a black organization get that powerful unless the white man is helping them? And they're all around us. But the minute you begin to figure it out, things begin to happen to people. See, they are black grim reapers. They are black grim reapers, brothers and sisters. That'll do the business for the white man. Huh? Because they don't want anything to mess up their piece of the pie. They don't want anything to mess them up. They are notable members of Sigma Pi Phi. I'm going to shock you all when I tell y'all some of these members. You got Johnson O. Kinley, Chancellor of North Carolina Central University. You got Julius E. Coles, Director of Morehouse. Andrew Young Center for International Affairs and Presidential Africa. You got John Warren Davis, President of the West Virginia State College. You got Louis C. Dowdy, President of the First Chancellor of North Carolina Agriculture Technical State University. You got Robert Michael Franklin Jr., President of Morehouse. You got Frederick Humphreys, S. Humphreys, President of Tennessee State University, Florida A&M. You got Michael Lomax, President and CEO of the United Negro College Fund, President of Dillard University. That's just a few. Now, most of these colleges and universities are against black independence. Though they're black colleges and universities, they're not really putting anything into the black community to control job and commerce and consumerism. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. But it's a big business to collect money in the black community. Brothers and sisters, I believe we better stop there. I believe we better stop right there. Just stop there. We're going to pick this up again. Greetings, El Mahdi. Greetings, brothers. Greetings. I believe we better stop right there. But understand, and I want you to understand this, that there is a war going on. While you tucked in and sleep, there's still a war going on. There's still a lot happening. There's so much happening still that we've got to grasp and we have to understand before we make this progress, before we can really make progress. These people were upset with Dr. King. You get Jesse Jackson. Remember, members that were not a part of the collegiate organization. So King had people all around him. Ralph David Abernathy, a lot of them that paid homage to these organizations. And people that betrayed King. People that betrayed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was part of the Black BOULE through his father. People that betrayed his brother, killed him. His brother was assassinated and killed. They were upset at Dr. King because they couldn't buy him, they couldn't control him to manipulate the Black community. The white people, they reported to their bosses, we can't get him under control, right? King wouldn't be manipulated anymore. He began to see more stuff. He said, I've led my people into a burning house. He started to look at the Vietnam campaign. He said, I can't support that. They tried to get Muhammad Ali into it and tell him to support Vietnam. Muhammad said, I couldn't do it. Remember, it's non-collegiate. So if it's non-collegiate, then they're organized to benefit from the same system that their parent organizations benefit from. And that's off the backs of Black people. You have to understand that. We've got to stop betraying one another and stop betraying our leaders and stop getting upset with brothers and sisters for trying to help our community, right? And we have to understand that all kin folks are not skin folks and all skin folks are not kin folks. We got to understand that. I'm going to leave it right there, brothers and sisters. We're going to get together again. We will be back. We will definitely be back at 6. I believe it's 6:30. But just check the YouTube channel and you'll see the next scheduled time. And I'm also going to post it on Facebook. And we need to build up this channel so that we could build up the channel of truth and not anything that's going to provide plagiarism. We need to be organized and talking about what we're going to do for our community. We need to rebuild the houses in our community. We can benefit from selling houses to Black folks, making sure they have affordable housing. We could redo cars and sell cars in the Black community. We could start jobs in the Black community. Teach our brothers and sisters. That's what our program does. Carpentry, HVAC, electrician, plumbing, brick mason, see, concreting. We need to organize our community. We waste our time fighting in a political system that don't care anything about us. The Democrats don't care about us. The Republicans don't care anything about us. While you're out of your mind to think that you're a Black Democrat or Republican. You might support the Black Democrat, or rather support the Democrat and Republican Party, but there's no such thing as a Black Democrat or Republican. The only difference in me and you is I got sense enough to know it. And the Black man should be involved in his own party, which is going to benefit him both financially, industrially, economically, and investment-wise. So we've got to get wise. There's so many things that we can do. Rebuild Black businesses, reemploy our own people, give them a trade. There's a lot of stuff in the community that they could rebuild. They always needed people to build. Who you think are building these buildings anyway at night? The whites are there by day, but they bring the Black by night so they can do the job and they underpay them. Come on, brothers and sisters. We've got to do better. We need homeless shelters in our community. We need our own holistic clinics. We need holistic pharmacies in our communities. And we have a training school that can teach you all these things. And all you got to do is click the link that I put on the top of here, top of the chat, and you'll be able to see that. Okay? So brothers and sisters, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. And help us by all means, whatever you can do to make this channel what it could be so we can continue to put out good information. If I did say it in the beginning, I say it now to you. I love you, brothers and sisters. Love one another. Brothers, love your woman. Woman, love your husband or your man, and support them. And by all means, keep the children first. If I did say it to you in the beginning, I say now, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. Peace be unto you.